This is Smith versus Smith, 24 FM 2433. Mr. Smith is representing himself. Ms. Smith is being represented by Ms. Bates. Everybody is present. So Ms. Bates, you kind of gave me an opening already. Mr. Smith, if you could let the court know what you see are the issues, and then I'll let Ms. Bates begin by calling her witness. You need to unmute.
Just the money is the issue for me.
I don't know what that means.
The financials.
Yeah.
The financials is the issue. I did 6, I think when we separated, I paid 6 months, almost 6 to 7 months, everything in the house. I mean, that's without me having nothing but like $300 to $400 left in my pocket, going into that. So the money that she's saying, I guess the Chef Bono's money that she's saying that's coming out of Chef Bono's account. I mean, catering is an up and down business, just like real estate is. I mean, I could get a catering job for a certain amount and then don't get nothing else for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year. It's a need business. It's not a guarantee that I'm getting a check like my check is from healthcare services. So what I make at healthcare services pretty much provides for me and the family, or for, take care of kids or whatever I got to do. So that's not a substantial income. My catering is not. That's just something that if somebody needs a catering job, they're going to let me do it, and that's it. I'm not making $5,000 worth of catering money every month. If that's the case, I wouldn't be working my other job. I'd be full-blown caterer.
How long have you been doing the catering?
About 10 years off and on. But like I said, I just do it as a side.
All right. So we should be able to understand, though, in the 10 years, what your general annual income from that would be.
With the losses in it too, because I got to buy food. When people pay me, I still got to buy food, buy supplies, buy certain things to be able to do the project, do the job.
Okay, so we'll get into that. Any other issues that you want the court to be mindful
of? Like I said, just the money. That's pretty much for me. Nothing else. I mean, everything else.
The money, you can't cut it off like that. I don't know what money you're talking about. I don't know if you're talking about
the money she's asking for.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I don't know if you're talking about child support, alimony. I don't know if you're talking about. Okay. I don't know if you're talking about the house. I don't know if you're talking about debts. I don't know if you're talking about 401ks. So when you say the money, I mean, that's generally what we're doing in a divorce. So I don't know specifically what issue you want me to look at.
The house is hers. I don't have nothing to do with the house. I don't have nothing to do with the house. The main thing is the alimony and the child support amount is the biggest issue for me.
Okay.
That's the money that we're discussing. If we would agreed on that, then the papers would have been signed.
Okay. All right. Any other issue? Ms. Bates, call your first witness.
Okay, happy to do that. Lashea, if you can unmute your computer. Make sure your phone is on mute because I hear feedback. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's not my phone.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith, go on mute.
I'm on mute.
Okay. Can you, Judge Bear, I want to make sure you can hear. Can you hear?
I can hear. I don't hear feedback.
Okay, good. Okay. Is your name Shay Smith?
Yes.
And you're married to William Smith, referred to as Bo, who is present at this hearing today?
Yes.
And how long have you been together?
11 and a half years.
Okay, and do you all have a 9-year-old son named Mikhail Smith?
Yes.
You also have a daughter named Amaya? Oh, wait. Forgot to swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to receive is true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. That's a technicality that I forgot about. Okay. Are there any other children from your marriage to Mr. Smith?
No.
Are you pregnant or expecting any more children from him?
No.
And when did you and Mr. Smith separate?
January 2nd of 2023.
Okay, and why was that?
Again, we've been together for 11 and a half years. Prior to us getting married, he did cheat on me and had a baby. I did forgive him. We went to counseling. He decided to propose after that, reassuring me that that was all behind us. We got married, maybe December of 2023. I started suspecting infidelity again. I questioned him about it, which he denied, indicating that he was just focused on his catering business. Shortly after that, actually about the 1st of January of 2023, I'm sorry, December 2022, that's when I started suspecting it. January of 2023, I did some research of my own, went into his Instagram account, and then found out that the woman that I was questioning their relationship, I did find out that they were having an affair. And when I confronted him about it, he did admit to it.
Okay. And so after that time, did he move out of the house?
Yeah, shortly after that, because I was staying in our bedroom, he was staying downstairs on the couch. So he decided he didn't want to stay on the couch anymore, so he decided to move out.
Okay. He just told Judge Barry that he paid all of the bills in the house for 6 months. So he paid them from the time he moved out until you all reached the agreement for him to pay the $1,300 about last summer, last June.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so prior to filing your petition, were you a resident of Georgia for 6 months?
Yes.
And Mr. Smith also was a resident of DeKalb County for the 6 months before, right?
Yes.
Is your marriage irretrievably broken with no hope of reconciling with your husband?
That's correct.
Okay. And have you given him settlement agreements that have the same relief that you are requesting today?
Yes, I've provided that, and we've had this discussion at least 10 times.
Okay. And has he responded as far as letting you know what he wants, or providing you with any evidence contrary to the evidence that you already had about his income?
No, just the same that, he didn't have the funds or didn't agree with the amount. He would always say he would get back to me and let me know. So we never been able to come to an agreement.
Okay. And did he file an answer with the court to the petition after we formally served him with the settlement of documents and the divorce petition?
No, he told me he hired an attorney and that they were going to reach out to my attorney, but that never happened.
Okay. And so in April, did we file a motion for a default hearing?
Yes.
And did we ask specifically for $875 in child support in that motion?
Yes.
Did we also ask for the $900 in alimony in that motion?
Yes.
And did we ask the court to require him to pay your attorney's fees in your original petition and in that motion?
Yes.
And did the settlement agreement reflect the debts that you want him to help pay, that you're going to ask Judge Barry to order him to pay today?
Yes.
Okay, so he's had almost a year to provide documentation or an attorney or response or something so that we can prove what he's saying is contrary to your evidence. Is that right?
That's correct.
And before today, we were not sure if he would even appear at this hearing, were we?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's briefly walk through the documents. Judge Barry, I have emailed to you and to who else did I send? Miss Marshall, and I think there was and Miss Harris and Mr. Smith, a copy of the proposed orders that I am asking on behalf of my client for the court to sign off on and file today. They include a parenting plan, a final order, a child support worksheet, a child support addendum, and a final judgment and decree of divorce. I just wanted the court to know that those documents are available. I also indicated to Ms. Marshall that I can put the documents up on screen share if at any point, if you want to see the documents. What I want to do is just kind of talk about it, because we can do that very quickly. And then if anything becomes an issue, then we can do the screen share and put the documents up, if that's okay. I just think that'll help us go faster.
Okay.
Okay, so with the parenting plan that Mr. Smith, he said he doesn't have a problem with it, but I just want to say for Judge Berry and for Mr. Smith in front of Judge Berry, since we are on the record, that the parenting plan provides that you have primary custody. Is that right?
Yes.
And he agrees with that?
Yes.
And did we add time to his schedule instead of him? He's been picking your son up on Fridays to, I think, is it Sunday nights or Fridays, to sometimes he drops him off at school on Monday?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and did we add a day so that he gets him on Thursday and has him from Thursday pick up from school to Monday drop off at school? So we added an extra day to his parenting time?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and did we say for legal custody that it be joint and that you have final decision-making authority for all major decisions?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you do realize that that requires you to have a conversation with Mr. Smith about any major decisions before you make them, right?
Yes.
Okay, and in the summer, are we proposing that you all alternate your son every 2 weeks?
Yes.
And then flip the half of the summer on odd and even years?
Yes.
Okay, and did we propose that Judge Berry order you guys to alternate your son for the holidays, which include Mother's Day, Father's Day, spring break, etc.?
Yes.
As far as the notices, are we asking Judge Berry to require that you both provide each other with notice if your son is going to spend the night at someone's house without either one of you?
Yes.
Okay, and also if your son is going to be living with someone else, did we ask Judge Berry require you all to provide the full name and birth date of the person that your son would be living with?
Yes.
Okay, and you both would have full access to records under your parenting plan?
Yes.
And the other standard provisions about not arguing in front of him and all of the other protective provisions, making sure that you all help with his homework and all of those things as it relates to your son, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so are you asking Judge Berry to adopt the parenting plan that we have provided?
Yes.
Okay, for as far as the child support worksheet, we have, again, are requesting that Mr. Smith be required to pay you $875 a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and how did we arrive at your income in the amount of $3,130 for the child support worksheet?
I work full-time at Georgia Vocational Rehab Agency, where I earn $3,100 a month. With real estate, I'm averaging, since I'm now working only full-time with that, I'm averaging about $170 a month.
Okay, and so did we take your commissions, all of your commissions that you have received since you've been with this company, and add them all up and just divide them by the number of months that you've been there?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and so the extra income is based on the part-time real estate, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
and
sorry,
you,
back up just a little bit. You
sure.
said- I think your question was, you took what she made for the year and divided it by 12.
Yes, because she's with a new real estate company. And also, Your Honor, the job that she has, she just started working there in September of last year. So she hasn't always been at that job.
Okay, so she does part-time real estate.
Yes.
All right, and the times that you took the total and you divided by 12, was that a year's total?
No, it was for this year, because she's with the new company as of this year. So she works with, what is it? I'm sorry, what's the name of this company?
The Commission Luxury Group.
That's the real estate agency that she works with, and she's been with them since the beginning of the year. So
Okay.
she's earned commissions, and we took the commissions for the entire year and averaged them for this year.
And that gave you how much per month?
$170, and I think we added it in here.
So generally she makes about under $2,500 a year.
Yeah, it's less than that, actually. She has had 3 commissions.
Okay, I just want to make sure. That's fine. I just want to make sure I understood you out. Initially I wrote, never mind. Okay, I just want to.
Yeah, so $3,131.39 is her salary, her full-time salary. And then the commissions that she's earned this year on her 3 deals have averaged out to the 170.21. So that's what her income. Okay, so with respect to Mr. Smith's income, we have his income set at $7,873. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did we decrease his income by $600 a month to give him credit for $600 that he's paying for his other children?
Yes.
So we based his child support only off of the $7,200. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And we also decreased his monthly payments by $100 a month for the health insurance that he pays, right?
Yes.
But we don't have any documentation showing for sure that he's even paying all of his child support or that he's current, do we?
That's correct.
And we don't have any documentation showing really how much even the insurance for your son is that he's paying, do we?
That's correct.
But we know he's paying something, so we wanted to give him credit. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then within this week that we have been pulling evidence together to prepare for this hearing, have you learned that he makes significantly more than what we've been asking for since before you started working full-time last year?
Yes.
Okay. Explain to the extent that Mr. Smith is trying to tell Judge Barry that he cannot afford to pay the money that he's being asked to pay. Explain how we came up with his income.
So he has a business account under the Chef Bo Knows where he has had deposits anywhere between $5,000 to $11,000 going into his business account.
Okay, and then for the money that's deposited after all of his deductions into your joint account come out to how much?
That is between $4,000 to $5,200.
Okay.
Full-time job.
Okay, and so that we are clear and not confusing for the court, we have included his full-time income at about $5,000. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's based on his net deposits. That's not even based on his gross income, right?
Correct.
And then we added an extra $2,200 for his catering, right?
Correct.
And that was before we got a hold of these bank statements that shows that he's depositing between $5,000 and $11,000 into it, right?
Correct.
But you have indicated that because you want closure, we are not wanting to go through full-blown discovery and more bank statements or to do any of that with respect to his catering income.
Correct.
So are you asking the court to impute those couple $1,000s to him for his catering income?
Yes.
And is that based on the fact that if he is making $11,000 worth of deposits, we seriously doubt that he has $9,000 worth of food costs, right?
Correct.
So we have been giving him the benefit of every doubt and every evidentiary deficiency. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And with that amount and all of the credits that he has been given, it brings his child support obligation all the way down to $875 a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we know it will be closer to $1,400 or $1,500 a month, which is what he has been paying. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So with respect to the child support worksheet that we have submitted to the court, does it reflect everything that you just talked about?
Yes.
Are you asking Judge Barry to adopt the child support worksheet that we have submitted to the court?
Yes.
Okay. And have you also agreed to allow him to cover your son every other year on his taxes?
Yes.
And you do realize that that's optional because you are the primary parent and you wouldn't have to allow him to do that, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And with respect to the life insurance policy, are you asking that he be required, which he has through his job, to maintain $100,000 life insurance policy in favor of your son?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to the out-of-pocket expenses, are you asking that they be made commensurate with the incomes?
Yes.
Okay, so that you pay 30% and he pays 70%, which are the percentages that are on the child support worksheet that we submitted to the court?
Yes.
Okay. So that covers everything that was significant that was in your child support addendum. Are you asking Judge Barry to adopt your child support addendum that we submitted to the court?
Yes.
Okay. with respect to the final order that we submitted to the court, does it provide, did we essentially convert the terms that were in the settlement agreement to a final order since we could not get Mr. Smith to sign off on it?
Yes,
And there are no surprises in that final order, right?
correct.
Okay, and is it asking that you both keep your own accounts, your own bank accounts in your name?
Yes,
And that's significant because your husband has a retirement account, doesn't he?
I believe so.
And you're not asking for anything from his retirement account, are you?
Correct.
Okay, and then you all had a joint Bank of America savings account that has been closed, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, and you currently have a joint Bank of America checking account, is that right?
yes,
And is that where he has been depositing the $1,300 in support payments that he agreed to pay you after he stopped paying all of the bills in the house?
yes,
Okay, and are you asking to keep that account open so that he can continue to make those deposits to pay the joint debts and other expenses that you have?
yes,
Okay, and do you all also have a joint USAA loan that had a balance of about $13,000 as of last year when we updated the agreement and gave it to Mr. Smith?
yes,
Okay, and for that loan, are you and your husband both depositing about $300 or so into your joint account so that the automatic withdrawals for that joint loan can be paid from it?
yes,
And are you asking for that to continue?
yes,
Okay, and are you asking that after that loan is paid off? Well, first of all, are you asking Judge Barry in the final order that we submitted for neither one of you all to increase that loan balance so that it can be paid off?
correct.
And when you both make the contributions to pay the loan off, are you anticipating that the loan will be paid off on or about May of 2025?
Yes,
Okay.
6, I believe.
And so are you asking that you both contribute half until the debt is paid off and keep the account open until the debt is paid off?
Yes,
Okay. And then there is another loan that was included in a credit card, I'm sorry, that was included in the settlement agreement and now the final order that we have submitted to the court. Is that correct?
yes,
And is that for the American Express card?
yes,
Ms. Smith, does Mr. Smith own at least four times more income than you earn?
yes.
And to be clear, what is the amounts that you have earned throughout this marriage before you started working full-time last September?
The most probably about $12,000.
Okay, and we pulled your Social Security statements and tax records so that we could confirm your max income throughout the marriage, right?
Yes,
Okay, and the difference in that, as Mr. Smith indicated to the court, he was paying all of the bills, is that right? Even
Yes.
after he moved out for 6 months, is that right?
yes,
And your income could not cover all of those bills, is that right?
correct.
What, before earning the $10,000 or so during the marriage, were you working at State Farm?
Yes, I was there for 10 years.
And were you making significantly more money when you were working for State Farm than you did after you all agreed for you to stop working?
Yes, I was making about $51,000.
Okay, and what was the reason why your income decreased down to $10,000 to $12,000 every year throughout the marriage? What was your conversation with your husband?
After we had our son, we both decided that it will be more efficient for me to leave my job, considering that my days considered a 12-hour days. So I will leave at 6:30, get home at 6:30. So that didn't leave a lot of time for me. At that time, Bo had moved up in his job as well, which required more of his time. So we both decided that it would be best that I stay home with the kids while having the ability to do real estate or substitute teaching part-time. So, because I was more the stay-at-home mom.
Okay. And so you went and found a full-time job last year after he stopped paying all of the bills in the house because of the shortfall. Is that right?
That's correct.
And about how much money in debt do you owe?
100.
It's in your financial affidavit. You completed financial.
It's 176,000.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Say that again?
$176,300.
You're saying you're behind in debt, $176,000?
I'm sorry. Did I not answer that question correctly?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what this 176 comes from.
That $176,300 is debt total I have. Yes.
The debt because he wasn't paying the bill?
That's her total debt, Judge Barry. Total debt for everything, for her car, for the house, for the credit cards, for everything. It's her total debt.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that when he stopped paying the bills, like
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
all right, sorry.
It's okay. So when he so with respect to the debt that you owe, you have to make minimum payments every single month on those debts. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and you included your mortgage and all of those expenses in your financial affidavit, right?
Yes.
So what is the total amount of your monthly expenses that you have?
$4,500.
Okay. And then what is the total amount of the payments that you have to make to creditors for the debts that you just mentioned?
$1,970.
Okay. And the combined amount of your monthly expenses and payments to creditors, does it come up to $6,400?
Yes.
And do you bring home $2,838 after the $400 worth of taxes and Social Security are deducted from your paycheck?
Yes.
And we did not deduct your retirement or anything except for your taxes and Social Security, right?
Correct.
So the net income was $2,838.
Correct.
Does that create a $3,600 deficiency for you with respect to your expenses and your income?
Yes.
And will the $875 that he is paying help you some with that deficiency?
Yes.
And you are asking for an additional $900 to help additionally with that deficiency. Is that right?
Correct.
And you are asking for that amount to be paid for 3 years?
Yes.
Okay. And in addition to that, there was an Amex credit card that one Amex credit card that you were using that you have been asking Mr. Smith to help you cover the interest on. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that balance as of December of 2023, when we updated your settlement agreement, was $17,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
So are you asking that he pay for the next 3 years the interest on that card in the amount of $450 a month?
Yes.
And for all of the amounts that you are asking him to pay, are you asking that he just be required to deposit it into the joint account along with in the same account that he's been depositing $1,300 for this entire time?
Yes.
And to be clear, the difference in the amount that he is depositing now and the amount that you are asking for is about $400 or so. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Has he missed any of the payments of the $1,300 a month that he has promised to pay after he stopped paying all of the bills in the house?
Not missed an entire payment, but he is behind about $1,000.
Okay. Was the amount not paid in full? Is that how the $1,000 added up?
Correct.
He was making partial payments?
Yes.
Okay. And so when Judge Barry starts these payments, are you asking her to start them on July the 1st of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you know that he has that money because of the deposits that are coming into the account. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. In addition, in this final order that has been drafted, are you asking that both you and your husband keep your cars and pay for your own car insurance?
Yes.
And there is no requirement of any title transfers or insurance transfers. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And when your son starts driving, did you include a provision in the order for both you and your husband to split the cost of his car insurance when he starts driving?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to any personal property that Mr. Smith has been out of your house for 1.5 years, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and with respect to any personal property that he has left behind, are you asking Judge Barry to require him to pick up that any personal items or whatever it is that he may have left behind within 30 days of her filing the final decree in your case?
Yes.
Okay, and that he also be required to return any keys, garage door opener, and help you transfer anything that is associated with your house in his name out to your name only.
Correct.
And you are asking, and he has conceded to you having exclusive use and possession of the marital residence, all equity, and being responsible for paying the mortgage, et cetera. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. With respect to the financial interest that he has in his catering business, which has significant income, as we discovered over this past week, are you waiving all of your rights to Chef Bono's LLC?
Yes.
Are you waiving all of your rights to any other business or any other catering jobs that he may do singularly or with someone else?
Yes.
Okay. And outside of helping you with that one credit card and helping you pay off that one joint debt, are you asking that you both be responsible for paying for all of the other remaining debts?
Yes.
Okay. And so to be clear,
I'm sorry, repeat that question.
Are you asking that outside of assisting with paying the joint loan that you all have at USAA and the one credit card, the one Amex credit card, are you asking that you be responsible for paying for the rest of your $130,000 worth of debt?
Yes.
And Mr. Smith would be responsible for paying for all of the other debt that he has in his individual names?
Correct.
Okay, and for the taxes, you all have filed your taxes separately throughout the marriage, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and are you asking that you both continue to file your taxes separately and that you both continue to be solely responsible for everything that you all have put in your tax returns?
Yes.
And are you asking that you each be required to indemnify the other person if any audits or any issues come up that occurred during your marriage?
Yes.
Okay. We discussed your deficiency. We discussed the alimony. With respect to the final order, the last provisions of the final order that we have submitted to the court, are you asking for the court to require him to pay your attorney's fees, which have come up to $7,000 over the past year that we have been working on this case?
Yes.
Okay. And is your request based on him earning more than at least 4 times more than you earn?
Yes.
Okay. And the fact that you suffered a huge decrease in your income when you all agreed that you would quit your job and do real estate so that you could be available for him and for your son and your family?
Yes.
And have we spent this entire week gathering evidence for this case because we could not get a response from Mr. Smith and was not sure if he would show up today?
Yes.
And we have prepared exhibits for Judge Barry in case Mr. Smith has information that he wants to say that's contrary to the evidence that we relied on?
Yes.
Okay. And does the final order accurately reflect all of your desires post-divorce?
Yes.
Are you asking Judge Barry to restore your maiden name back to Lashea Renee Daniels?
Yes.
And we included that in the copy of the final judgment and decree of divorce that we submitted to the court, didn't we?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I will state in my place my basis for attorney's fees after we are finished with Mr. Smith's testimony. I don't have any more questions for my client.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. When we come back, Mr. Smith, I'm going to allow you to ask Ms. Smith any questions related to those that she just went over. So if you have any questions for Ms. Smith, you'll have the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
And then once you're done questioning her, I imagine, Ms. Bates, you're gonna call Mr. Smith as a witness?
Yes, I just have very few questions for him, but yes, I will, Your Honor.
All right, give me 2 minutes and then we'll get started.
Sure.
All right, there we go. Y'all ready? Mr.
We
Smith,
are.
you may proceed. Mr. Smith, I don't know if you're sitting up or laying back, but you look a little sit up. There you go. And if you have any questions for Ms. Smith, now's your time.
Yes. First question is, did we not discuss no, first question is, I did not give on previous tax when this about this credit card, about $4,500 to $5,500 for the credit card payment.
Yes.
And I have not used that credit card since what date?
The last time you used it was January 18th, I believe, of 2023.
So what was the balance? Because I didn't ever keep up with the balance. What was the balance as of that date? I know it's still gonna be interest drawn on stuff that we bought, but what was the balance?
The balance was probably still around 16.
So when I gave the 45 to 5,500, that was around taxes, right? Correct.
That's correct.
Okay. So they would have took the balance down to roughly about 12 grand, somewhere around in there. Because that's what the money was for the tax, for the credit card.
Yeah, so whatever money that you gave me, yes, I put it all on the credit card.
Okay. So that would have took it down to about roughly about 12 grand, something like that.
I will have to pull up that statement to confirm that because I can't recall. That was last year.
Second question is, I'm not sure this question, how are you coming up with what Shelbo knows when nobody has access to that but me, or statement wise? Or is this coming from what I send you, or what? I'm just curious.
These are coming from actual statements that were sent to the house.
So whose name are the statements in?
Chef Bo knows.
So who has access to open the mail? Because I don't open nobody mail, your mail, anybody mail. So you open the mail to look at statements?
Well, we're married, so I'm entitled to that information.
That's not, I don't see how that is okay. Chef Bo knows the Truist account. You got all this information from the Truist account, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And some from the shared Bank of America account.
So I'm saying but Chef Bo knows came from the statements you looked at was from the Truist account, pretty much, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. I've been given, because I'm looking at deposits I went back and just pulled all the deposits going to the Bank of America that I've been depositing in. And it's been pretty much my check has been sitting in there because I got paid. So usually my check is about what, $2,000, just roughly $2,054 and some change every time I get paid. That's my amount after taxes and insurance and all that.
And then you also have your the money that gets deposited for gas
reimbursement that I spend pretty much on gas, which is 30 cents on the dollar. So it's 30 miles each way. So I'm really not getting all my gas money back. I mean, they're just giving me a partial of my gas money back from me spending gas from my job, pretty much, that I spend. So that money should really, money's really not going to balance out to what I really spend on gas a month. I'm just speaking in general, since you counting that money too.
Well, typically some of your payroll accounts from healthcare services have been in about $2,049.
That's it.
Been an amount of $2,737. It was also one that was for 37.
Yes, because I get a quarterly bonus.
32.95.
That's a quarterly bonus. So basically every quarter, every 3 months, we do get bonuses. That's correct. But usually my check every month is pretty much 2,000. Every 2 weeks is 2,000 something dollars.
Correct.
Okay. So, the bonuses it depends on performance or whatever. So they're not guaranteed either. It's not guaranteed money. The lowest you can get probably is, I really don't know what the lowest, but it's not guaranteed money. That's all on performance, depending on loss of business and different stuff that goes into that. So Let's see. On top of the checks, I'm looking in here because for the 6 months you was getting the checks, all my checks. I left everything in the account and you was paying whatever needs to be paid out of the checks, correct? 6 to 7 months. And then on top of that, you had me asking me to deposit more money on top of that too, for about 4 or 5 months.
On top of the 1,300, you're saying?
It's more than 1,300 because it was 2,000. You was 1,300. You was asking for more money, so I wasn't able to do anything.
Okay, help me understand. So when prior to our 1,300 agreement, you were paying all of the bills, and then I was still asking you to deposit more money in the account during that time, is what you're saying?
You was taking the whole checks and you was asking me for more money.
What was the money for? Because I don't recall asking you to pay anything outside of the bills.
Okay.
I mean, help me understand.
Okay. I mean, the bank deposits are here. So if you pull all the statements, we pull all
Give
the
me an
statements
example of a
for
time
23.
when I asked you for additional funds outside of you paying the bills. Unless it was some miscellaneous item for Mikhail or something dealing with Amaya's car.
227, 281. What the bill would have been for, but stuff was going in here for it.
Are you talking about the Bank of America?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I do recall a couple of times where you would take money out of the savings and put it in another account, and then you would deposit that money back after I asked you why you kept taking money out of the savings account.
There's more than that. It's more than that on here. But the child issue, Mikhail, to that question, I know you said Monday through Thursday. I mean Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Mikhail been with me pretty much this whole last 2 weeks, or in periods of time, it's been more than that. I'm not trying to stop it because I don't mind him being here, but he's with me more than the joint order is, or it's trying to be put on paper. Correct?
Correct, but we still have to have something in order just in case that changes.
And then the insurance, if I'm paying it or not, I am paying insurance. I am paying insurance on everybody. I pay about almost $400 worth of every month comes out my check. Every week come out my check about $400 for family coverage insurance. That's including you too, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
You said $400 a week. I thought you said you get paid every
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. It's about $369, almost $389 come out my check every 2 weeks.
You said $389?
I want to say about $389, almost $400.
And that includes you.
That's not including the vision. That's not including vision and all that other stuff.
Yes, that includes you, your wife, and your children with her.
Amaya includes everybody. Everybody's in the family includes.
Who everybody is.
Maya, Mikhail, Nico, includes everybody. Her.
When you say everybody, are you telling me 3 children or 4 children?
It's 4.
Are 4 children on this?
1, 2, 3. Yes, 4 children on it.
You have 2 children outside of the marriage, right?
Yes.
Those 2 children are included in this 389?
Yes, everybody's included in this.
All right.
Sorry, Judge, he has 3 children outside of our marriage.
So the
Nico, area is not included. Area is not included.
Mr. Smith, listen to my question, okay? The 389, how many children are included in that number?
4.
4. Do you have 2 children outside of the marriage?
Yes.
And then Miss Smith has 1 child, that's your stepchild, that's included in here?
Yes.
And then you have 1 biological child.
Yes.
With Miss Smith, so there are 4.
Yes.
And the 389, you said that's twice a month.
That's every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So
Yes.
basically, that's why you say about. So
Go ahead. That's not including the dental and vision too.
I understand that, but the 389, is that the number every 2 weeks, or is that the combined number for every
No,
2?
it's every 2 weeks.
All right. So basically, it's a little less than $800 a month that
Yes.
you pay. Okay. And that 800 should then be divided by 6 people, because it's you, your wife, and the 4 children, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So 6, if I were divided by 6, you're basically spending about $120 per person.
Correct.
All right, then.
But the plan would be a lot cheaper if I just did kids and me. The plan definitely would change.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not really worried about. Sure, and the
Okay.
plan will change because after you divorce her, she'll
Yeah.
have to find her own insurance.
Correct.
But the point is how much credit to give you for the
Okay.
single child, which is about 100.
No, Your Honor, along those lines, Mrs. Smith, when you, after this divorce, then how much is your insurance going to be for just you and the children?
I have to look it up when the enrollment plan comes up. So when the enrollment plan comes, I have to look that up.
But you gave him a credit for $100, right?
Right. Because we knew that he was paying it. We knew that it would go down. We knew that it would go down because he wouldn't be carrying his wife anymore.
I see what you're saying. So you kind of made an adjustment.
We already made an adjustment for it. Yes, Your Honor. That's exactly what I'm saying.
The biggest thing I'm trying to figure out is where is this catering money coming from? Because I would like to know, because I'll be balling. Not excuse my language. I'll be real good if I had catering money.
Well, that's why you have her here. So
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where is this catering money coming from.
Mr. Smith, that's why you have Miss Smith right now. She explained to you how she got the catering money. She looked at your bank records, and she said that from various months, you got anywhere from 5,000 to 11,000 deposited into the account. And she did an average of that over the 12 months. And that's how she came up with the number. And then she decreased some funds off of that on your catering. And that's how she came down to a number that she thought was reasonable at $2,200 per catering. If you disagree with that, this is your opportunity to
yes,
ask.
I do. I totally disagree with it because I don't average that amount of money in catering.
Well, you need to ask her now because the bank record she'll have, and she can produce them or so if you have a question, now is the time.
Yes, I don't agree with the catering amount. That's definitely, I don't agree with that. I mean, my income is my income that comes from healthcare services. That's how I pretty much survive.
Okay. You know how much you make from your catering, right?
Yes.
Okay. She's basically indicating that from your catering, she's basically putting you at $2,200 a month. If you multiply that times 12, what do you get? So that's times 12.
24.
She's indicating you make about $26,000 a year on catering.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much you make on catering. If you disagree with that, you can challenge her now with the record she has in hand. If you want to do that, do so. If not, you can obviously make your own testify when you get ready to testify. But if you want to, you can do that now.
Yeah, I don't agree with that amount. I don't make that amount on catering. About 10,000.
You got to.
I probably make about 9,000 to 10,000. If you saying that.
I'm not saying anything. I'm
just saying if she's asking that, I don't make that amount.
Okay, there you go. You want to talk? Is there any more questions you have related to that, or wherever you want to go? Go ahead. Fine.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like I said, the alimony, the house was already hers when she got there, so that should not be even in the conversation about the house, because my name was never on the house. In that house, so I don't have anything to do with that. Pretty much the house part. It was true about the her taking this job and going into real estate, and she was doing a sub job in between. That is true, but our monthly income, our monthly bills were not as high as now it seems to be with me gone. I don't know what happened, but it was not that high because we was able to survive off of HJC healthcare services alone without catering coming in, or if I picked up a catering job here or there, that helped a little bit. But we still was surviving off of the healthcare service, $2,000 or whatever it was a month, $4,000 a month, within our house. So I'm not sure where.
I gotta ask her a question.
I'm not sure where you went with where this income has increased with that. We're wanting this amount of money, especially $900 on top of $875. That's $1,900. That's a paycheck for me. Like I told you, that's a whole paycheck for me. That's 1 month worth of paycheck for me.
Okay, I don't.
So my question is, if, like I explained to you before, and we had plenty of conversations about this, when you ask for this money, the reason why I have not signed is because you wanted about $1,900, $900 plus $875. That's almost $2,000. That's one paycheck for me. That's a whole paycheck. So if I don't depend on catering because I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not. You don't know. It's just like you don't know if you're gonna sell a house or not. So I'm asking where did you come up with that number? And for me to be able to live, I can't do it.
Your Honor, I have not been objecting because I've been wanting Mr. Smith to have some leeway so that the court can understand his financials.
Yes.
I am going to object. He's not asking a question. The question that he is asking has been answered several times. So I would ask that he move on so that I can redirect my client, ask his questions, and we can conclude the hearing.
Okay, so $900.
You have to ask Mr. Smith so that you'll know, because next time she's going to stop you. If you keep doing it, then I have to stop you, and then it's going to be over. You got to ask questions. You can't make statements. And
okay, so where is this $900 alimony coming from?
Then I have to stop you altogether. I just want to make sure you understand the warning the court's just giving you.
Got you. I'm asking the question, where did you come up with this $900 a month number for alimony?
And I will object based on the fact that has been asked and answered. She spoke in great detail about how she came up with the money.
Well, but that was doing your direct. He has her on cross, so I'm going to give him some leeway. You can answer the question, Ms. Smith. How'd you come up with $900 being the alimony amount?
Again, going back to the deficiency of per month, which is a total of $3,649. Yes, our bills were significantly lower. However, in the past couple of years, they went up based on the fact that we had to get a personal loan to consolidate some of the credit card bills that we had, as well as we then racked up another credit card bill that we used to fund our marriage and vacations and so on and so forth. So that's why that has increased, as well as we went out and bought a $40,000 car for me because my car was, I had to get rid of my Jeep. So we got another car with the notion that you would be paying my car notes. So just off of that alone, in addition to that, we bought 2 separate furniture couches that I'm now having to pay, which I wasn't intending on paying because.
Okay, again, so let me back up a little bit. That USAA loan, how much is left on that loan?
As of December, it is $13,510.59.
$13,559, and normally
$13,510.
And normally, you said you put 300 in. What do you put? 150. He put 150. How does the 300 collect?
The total amount per month is $561.44, and we split that payment because it comes out of the Bank of America account automatically twice a month. So he puts in $281 in the account, and so do I. So it can come out on the 13th and the 28th.
Oh, $281. Okay. All right. And then the Amex bill, that's the vacation card to card.
It was vacation. It was for our wedding and just other miscellaneous things. So that
okay, I see. The Amex also paid for the wedding.
Correct.
Okay, got it. All right. And what's the balance on that one?
As of December, it was $17,186.60.
And what's the monthly on that?
About $700 a month.
All right. So normally y'all do what, $350 each?
Well, are you saying now?
I mean, at the time, who was primarily responsible for that? How'd
Bo
y'all?
was paying the majority of the bill, and when I
Okay.
had commissions coming out or when I subbed, he was paying it.
Okay, got it. All right, thanks. All right.
But like I said, if you go back, a statement, like I asked her before in the previous question, I just gave $4,500 for the Amex before, and it should have been down to 12. So I don't know what's been spent after I've been out the house. I have not used the Amex card since the 1st of January of 2023.
Okay, well, you can ask her, did she put the $4,500 on the Amex?
She said she did when I asked her earlier.
Okay.
And then I just said, I know I gave her some more money for when I got taxes. I think it was like $1,500 or something like that. For that. But we did talk about getting some more money for the Amex. I'm not gonna lie, we did talk about that. So that was something that we did talk about for the Amex, but I'm not responsible for any charges prior to January, whatever the date is, January of she said the last time I used it. I mean, the last time it was used by me. I shouldn't be responsible for it because my name is not even on the Amex. I don't even have the Amex. My name's nowhere on it. It's not on my credit report. It's not on anything. The loan is, but the Amex is not.
All right, question for Ms. Smith.
So I'm not responsible for the Amex from what time period? That's the question I'm asking. Charges wise.
The amount, the current balance as of December is $17,186. That is what we are agreeing to split. The Air Max is well over that. So I'm not even including that amount because I know I have been spending it because unfortunately I have not been able to pay my bills. So I'm not even including the complete total. Now, in addition to whatever you did give me, understand that the interest rate alone is like $300 a month. So whether I put $4,000 or $5,000 onto it, if I'm only paying the minimum, I'm not really paying down the credit card bill at all. It would take me 30 years to pay this bill off.
So my question is, again, we go back to the alimony. I'm not understanding. I get where you come up with the number, but from my understanding, if I don't have $900 a month to give for alimony, I don't have it. My statements will not show that. If you pull my records now, from whatever records you got.
Objection, Your Honor. He needs to ask Ms. Smith a question.
That's your question. I do not have.
That's not a question.
Okay, well, it's not a question. I don't have a question for her. We're just my question will be for, I guess, the court or the judge or whoever I need to ask this question to. Is it a way that we can go in and look at this whole situation about the alimony?
No, ma'am. No, sir. This is the day. I think
Okay.
that's the whole point that Ms. Bates was trying to point out is that for several months they've been trying to engage you and you haven't.
But we have had conversations about this offline about this. Once she gave me paperwork and said that we would be able to discuss this situation. We'll sign it and get divorced, and we'll be able to discuss the legal stuff on the back end. And then it turned around, and I was getting papers.
The back end was going to happen. You got divorce papers.
No. No, but she said that the financial part would be discussed on the back end.
On the back end of what?
We can discuss the financials on how we can about the money.
That's not how divorce court works. I mean, I know you may not be as familiar with all the particulars, but I think you would know that the court is going to decide the financials. Either you're going to come with an agreement, and if you don't have an agreement on the day of the hearing,
got you.
The court is going to make that decision. I don't know why you think you would leave divorce and you guys would then discuss the financials.
No. I'm saying the paperwork she provided me once before to sign was a paperwork I got sitting over here was about us discussing the financials.
Well, you could make counter offers and you can talk through it, but it's too late now because we're in the middle of a hearing.
Okay.
At this juncture, it has to make decisions, and I have to make decisions based upon evidence. So
Yeah, I got evidence on my statement of how much money I make. That's
Well,
it.
you
I
need
mean,
to produce them because today is the day. So
okay. Well, like I said, I got it sitting right here.
Okay.
My deposits are $4,000 in my bank account.
Okay.
And my bank is USAA, and it's $4,000. That's pretty much all I get in my account from healthcare services.
Okay. Do you have any further questions from Ms. Smith?
No.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Bates, do you have any questions, follow-up questions?
Brief, yes, Your Honor, very brief redirect.
All right.
Ms. Smith, to be crystal clear, as of today, what is the balance on this Amex account?
It is $21,780.
And what is the amount that is going strictly towards the interest each month on that credit card?
$300.
Okay. As far as the Truist Chef Bo knows accounts, it was coming to your address at the house through the end of last year for at least the most recent statement that we have through, I think, July or something of last year, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And I am going to put the statement up on the screen.
And I'm sorry, the interest rate is 497.35.
That's just for interest?
Yes.
What is the minimum? What is the minimum payment?
$713.37.
So of that $700, 490 of it is going towards interest?
Yes.
And that's the card that you said that you charged the wedding and the household goods and all of that on?
Correct.
Okay. So the minimum payment is how much? what?
$713.37.
And for what is going towards interest?
$497.35.
Do you see this Chef Bo knows Truist bank statement on the screen?
Yes.
Are these the statements that you have been referring to?
Yes.
How much was deposited into this account as of January the 31st of 2023?
7308.75.
How much was deposited into this account as of February 2023?
$8,025.
How much was deposited into this account as of May 2023?
$11,424.
How much was deposited into this account as of June 2023?
$57.11.
Okay, and these deposits are only from the Zelle payments directly to this business account. Is that correct?
Correct.
And again, to show the first page, this is Chef Bo Knows LLC, 1529 Tunbridge is your the marital residence at your house. Is that right?
Correct.
And that's how you got these statements, because they came to your house.
Correct.
To your knowledge, does he also accept Cash App for money when he caters? That's
Correct.
not reflected in this bank statement.
Correct.
Does he also have some other kind of little contraption where he lets people pay with credit cards that's also not reflected in this bank statement?
Correct.
Okay, so to be clear for Judge Barry, the least amount that we have seen deposited into these accounts is this $5,000 and whatever it was for, that's 8,000, that's 11,000. Was this $5,711. We took the least amount of these huge deposits when we imputed the $2,200 worth of income to him, right?
Correct.
And there are at least 3 sources that are missing where he receives additional income for his catering. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. To the extent that there has been, he's talking about the account where his paycheck is deposited. He testified he gets a bonus 4 times a year over $1,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
So his deposits, again, after the taxes come out, after his whatever other deductions, insurance that he says is $400 a month. I'm sorry, he said he pays $800 a month in insurance. So he's depositing $5,200 into the account, right? And we know that he says that he's paying $800 for insurance. So that brings his income up to $6,000 a month, right?
Correct.
And of course, he's going to at a minimum have tax deductions that come out to probably another $1,000 a month. Is that right?
Correct.
So that would be the $7,000 gross before taxes just from his full-time job without the catering income. Is that correct?
Correct.
And because you have this knowledge, you know that he can afford to pay the alimony and everything else that you're asking for. Is that your testimony?
Correct.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor,
Can I redirect? Can I redirect on these deposits on the truest account?
Let me ask you also, Mr. Smith, do you have the remaining of the accounts that shows what amounts that were deposited from June down to December?
Yeah, they sitting right here in front of me to the Bank of America account.
Okay, well, I would definitely like to know those numbers because
Okay.
right now, those numbers
Real quick, the truest account that you're looking at, those deposits, that was my main bank account for a while. So when I put money in that account, it was coming from other account, from the Bank of America account. If I had money left over that she let me have, that I had left over from taxes, where I deposited money from taxes, that ended up being my main account to use because I didn't have a main bank account for a while. That's why you see all those transactions going through that account, because I had to use that account because I couldn't use the joint Bank of America account
a
anymore.
chance to go through those right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some of that stuff is
I think
transactional stuff.
It doesn't make sense for you to ask her about your own bank account. You'll have an opportunity to be heard. And at that time, you can go through those bank records with the court if you want to, because
Yes.
those numbers are significant and I'm very interested.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm saying is that those numbers on there are transactional numbers because they end up being my only bank account.
You'll be able to show them to me.
Okay.
All right then. Now Ms. Bates is going to have an opportunity to examine you, cross-examine you. She's going to call you for purposes of cross-examination. So she's going to cross-examine you. She's not directing you, she's crossing you. And then thereafter, you will have the opportunity to kind of give me more of a narrative where you can talk through the things that you want to say to me related to the finances, okay?
Okay.
You can answer her questions because you will have a chance to go back and say, Judge, here's what I want to explain regarding this particular thing.
Gotcha.
So, for example, we can look at the first deposit of 7308. You can tell me where that 7308 came from, how you spent it, if you want, and what your actual net from that 73 was that month. You can do stuff
Gotcha.
like that. Okay? All right. So first, right now, Ms. Bates is going to cross you.
Okay. You indicated that there are 4 children, Mr. Smith, earlier that you were testifying that you have.
Mm-hmm.
One of these children you had during your relationship with Ms. Smith. Is that correct?
Correct.
How often do you see that child?
Not often.
Once a year, once a month, once a week?
Which one are you talking about?
The one that you fathered during your relationship
I don't have any with that.
I'm sorry?
I don't have any interaction. I don't have any I don't have any way of getting in touch with that one.
How old is that child?
I'm sorry, Ms. Bates, I'm confused. There are 2, I thought. One while they were dating and one while they were married. Is that not what I was told? They're not.
What is that? Can I ask you a question? What does this have to do with this case?
Mr. Smith, I need.
I'm just asking.
Because it's adultery, and adultery equals.
We was not married. We was not married when this child came. No, we was not married.
Wait a minute. That's what I'm asking you. I thought.
Yes. So no, it's not. No. So that's why I don't know what this has to do with the case. We was not married.
Oh, because they're not 2 babies?
We was not married. Mikhail is my son. We was not married when Mikhail was born. We was not married either.
No, I'm not talking about Mikhail.
Okay.
I'm getting confused. How many?
But I'm saying I got 4 children, but we was not married about this child. So I don't know what this child has to do with the case.
You were not married while any of the children?
No. We was not married while we was not married while any of these kids were born. No. So I don't know what this has to do with the case.
Okay. When did you get married?
We got married 2 years ago, 3 years ago. 2 years, 3, I think.
Okay. What year did you get married?
5 years ago in 2019, Judge Barry.
2019.
Yes.
Okay. And so when was the child born that you said you found out he was cheating through the Instagram? I thought that would happen in 2020.
No, there's no child. No child's been born since we've been married. So I don't know what this has to do with the case.
Was there an affair in 2022? Because I wrote down Instagram, found out an affair. Was there an affair?
It was a situation in 2022. Yes.
Huh?
Yes, it was a situation in 2022.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's no
maybe
child.
maybe I got them confused.
No child
Okay.
out of this situation.
No
So I
child
don't
out of it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Got it. Okay.
So I don't know what
I
that
was
has
a
to do
little
with anything.
confused.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I
don't
was
know.
also confused. So to be clear, Mr. Smith, what you're saying is that the affair in 2022 did not produce a child.
No. So I don't
Okay,
know
that's
where it's
what
coming from.
we were
Yeah.
confused about. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know
So
what. Yeah.
are you paying child support for,
I paid.
how old is your youngest child?
How was my youngest? What does this have to do with anything?
Because, sir, we reduced your child support.
Trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay, I know. So you know it's I pay $270. I pay money already, but I don't know what this has to do with anything about this case. This don't
Well,
have
to
nothing to do with
answer
it.
your question, Mr. Smith, because we reduced your child support under the assumption that you were financially supporting these two other children. So they're very
I am.
relevant to this case.
The proof is on my check stub. So yes, I am.
Okay. So you are paying.
One gets paid monthly. My oldest son gets paid monthly.
And how much is that?
It's right at $320.
$320 for your son, and then this other child that you don't see. How old is that child?
Don't know.
What age do you think the child is?
I don't know.
Mr. Smith,
I don't.
You do, and you need to start calculating. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to
4
think.
4 or 5. I don't know.
I know you're gonna think through it because you're gonna know.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5.
Okay.
And for that child, you're paying how much?
$270.
Okay.
Okay, so essentially we've given you more credit than what you're even paying for the child support. You left the house in January 2023, is that correct?
Yes.
And you said you continue to pay all of the bills in the house, right?
I provide the bills in the house.
Okay. And then you reduced the amount to $1,300 a month about a year ago, is that correct?
Not even that. It's a little more than that still paying. I mean, it varies. I think it was 16 last month. I think this past month it was like almost 16, I think. Now it's about, yeah. If you want to go.
Okay, so you've been paying her more than the $1,300 a month?
Some months it's been more.
How much have you been paying her on average?
Let me look at the statements.
Sure.
So if you go, excuse me, give me 1 second and pull them up.
Okay.
I get this year.
You testified that it's been about $1,600 that you paid at times. Is that what you're saying?
It's been that before, yes, and that was yes.
Okay, well, we will just assume that is what it is. And so with respect, you agreed to this divorce, right, Mr. Smith?
I agreed to the divorce.
Okay, and you and your wife have been having this conversation since August of last year, is that right?
Probably the end of, I think it was the end of December or somewhere like that.
Okay, and then you were personally served with the documents in March, is that right?
Yes.
And you did not file an answer, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
And
hold on. Can I explain why?
Sure.
Okay, because then I got some more paperwork saying sign this paperwork. It was before I got this paperwork. We had talked about signing this paperwork that we could discuss the financials later. Just go ahead and get the divorce over. Then that paperwork came to me that same week, and I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute, you just told me we was going to sign this, go over this, look at this paperwork and sign it so we could talk about the financial stuff later. That's what I was trying to explain. But then that paperwork came out. I don't know. So yes, to answer your question, that's how it happened. So,
and your email is chefbonos@gmail.com.
Yes,
Is that right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you emailed your wife a copy of the insurance information for your kids with Blue Cross Blue Shield, right?
Yes, I have.
So you have access to that email. And Alina Marshall, who was with the court, sent you an email about this hearing. I think it was in April, letting you know 2 months ago that we were going to be having this hearing today, right?
I didn't see the hearing part in the email. I just seen some paperwork come down, say do not reply, but I did not see the date on the hearing.
Okay.
And nor did I get any mail at the address.
Okay. with respect to the parenting plan, you said that you agree with all of that. You just don't agree with the financials, right?
Yes, I don't agree with the financials.
Okay. And as far as the Truist account, you're telling Judge Barry that you have now diverted all of your deposits over to some other account someplace else, right?
Well, no, my Truist account was my main account for me to use because I didn't have an account. Only account I had was the Bank of America account. That was both by joint account. So when I opened me a Truist account up, I opened a Truist account. So everything that you see in that Truist account could have been people loaning me money to survive. It could have been a lot of different stuff sent to that account because I was not making any money. I was only having $300 to $400 left.
How many bank accounts have you had within the last year and a half?
2.
Truist and Bank of America?
Truist and Bank of America.
Okay, and again, you work full time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Healthcare services.
Yes.
Do you have your W-2 from 2023?
Yes.
How much is on your W-2 from 2023?
2023, I made like 88 or 87,000.
Okay. And that's just from healthcare services.
That's from healthcare services.
Okay.
My tax lady can provide any information as far as that goes.
Okay. And how long have you been on that job with them?
I've been on there 7 years, 8 years.
Okay. And you've been catering for 10 years, right?
Yes, I have.
So you were working there at the same time that you were catering the entire year last year, right?
I was working, yes.
Okay. And so does anybody else have any access to I think you said you're the only one that has access to your business accounts, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so you admit that you have made way more money than your wife throughout the entire marriage, right?
Yeah. Because even when she was working, yeah.
Okay. And you know that those bills were the same when you left that house, right?
The bills were the same.
Okay. And so you realized that with the amount of money that she was making, $1,000 a month, that was not enough to cover all of these bills, correct? Which is why you've been depositing $1,600 into her account, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so with respect to when is the soonest date that you can get her the keys and the garage door openers, etc.?
I don't have none of that anyway. That's been given back from the day I left. I have none of that.
Okay.
I have nothing like that in my possession.
Okay. And you talked to her about her allowing you to carry your son as long as you're helping pay all of the expenses. You know that you have no legal right if she doesn't consent to carry your son every other year on your taxes.
That's fine. Yes.
Okay. And it's because you're helping to cover these expenses. You realize that, don't you?
That she's let me cover.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Well, that's her choice. I didn't.
Okay. And you know that she would be entitled to receive some value from this catering income that you have now earned for 10 years if she asked for it. You know that, don't you?
I don't see how, because I was already catering before I even met her. I've been doing this for a long by myself. So
okay.
She has not had anything to do with my catering.
Are you asking Judge Barry to enter the final judgment and decree of divorce?
If we can get these financials right.
You agree? Is your marriage irreconcilable with no hope of reconciling?
I agree.
Okay. Your Honor, I don't have any further questions for him unless I need to recross.
All right, now this is your opportunity, Mr. Smith. You can talk through those documents. Ms. Bates can put them on the screen if you want to, if you have any issues with the court with calculating your income.
That's fine.
All right, Ms. Bates, put that first one up.
Which one, Your Honor?
The first one, first number I have is 7308.
Oh, for the bank statement, sure. And then, Your Honor, we can certainly spend time going through these bank statements, but I just want to say that he just testified that in his full-time day job, his W-2 shows that he earned $87,000 from his full-time day job. When you divide that by 12, that is $7,250 for his gross month income
Oh, wait a minute.
just for his day job.
Oh,
So what we're asking, since we're being put through all of this, is that the court increase his income, because we have tried to settle, and I am furious that we showing up here spending all of this time going through all of this information because he waited to have this conversation today.
so Mr. Smith, when she divides the 87,000, she gets $7,250 a month. Do you contest that?
72, how much? Say again?
7,250. She took
$7,250.
the $87,000
Uh-huh.
and she divided it by 12. And that's the number. It comes up to 7,250, which means that based on what they were even presenting to you, they were not even considered. It didn't even touch your catering business
At all.
But she asked for $900 in alimony.
Well, yes, I understand that, but we're looking at first of all, your child support numbers should likely go up because
I had no problem with the child support number.
Well,
the biggest problem I had was, go ahead.
would likely go up as a result. And she's also asking for alimony because she said there was adultery in the marriage, which she can ask for.
I'm confused on that part.
That's just the law. The law is that if the divorce comes as a result of adultery, then, which she indicates, and I think you indicated that there was adultery in the marriage, then the court can consider the alimony. So that's why we're considering it. And what she's asking for is the alimony as a result, not only of the adultery, but because of the fact that she released her ability to make money during the marriage at your request.
Absolutely.
Nope, that's not true. That is not true about the request.
I wrote down what you said. You said
I said, I didn't say
when she made that decision, that was true.
She went to real estate. That's it. She went to real estate. She had a job and she went to real estate and did sub.
Yes,
so,
you said that was true. So she released our higher income job at your request, and you said that was true.
Okay. I didn't, that's not how it works.
What you said, I wrote it down when you
Okay.
said it.
But the alimony is the biggest thing with me. Like I said.
So anyway, so what I want to do now is I want to see how much money the court is going to impute to you or add up for you based on these numbers that you have, because the 7,250, that's an automatic. I have to include that number. So the 87,000, when I divide it by 12, I didn't do the numbers, Miss Bates did, so let me just do it real quick so we won't have any issues on that. So if I put 87,000 divided by 12, yes, she's right. It's $7,250. That number you automatically got to put in the child support worksheets. Now we got to look at how much of your monies that you make for catering. You said you think you made anywhere from $9,000 to $10,000. She's indicated that on an average, like 15. That's like in 1 month, you put in 4 months, you put in over $40,000.
But like I told you, that right there was my main account. That was my account to be able to live off of. Yes.
Well, I don't know about to live off of, but let's.
Well, you know what I mean. To be able to pay stuff with. That's the account I use.
Right. So the 73. Let's see where that number is coming from. Can you go up?
Absolutely, Your Honor. These are the deposits that went into all of the deposits that went into that account.
Go to that deposit. Okay, so all of that is Zelle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where is this number? This 73. What number are you looking at that you said came from your Bank of America account?
Not only from Bank of America, just people loaning me money. I had to be able to survive.
Okay, Mr. Smith, these numbers right here are Zelle business payments. Now you're saying a business loan?
No, I'm just saying people have Zelle that they send you money. So they send you money through Zelle. That's what they're gonna send it through.
I understand that, and they're in your business account, but now you're saying these are loans?
These are people that helped me that I didn't have any money. So I had to get money from people. They're gonna Zelle you money. Cash App. I don't use Cash App.
Okay, so of the
A lot.
$7,308, how much money from this number came from a loan, and who loaned it to you?
16 Zelle. So these Zelles are from myself, from William. You see it say from William Smith? You see it? You see this? That's for me. You see the Zelle, William Smith, from William Smith, from William Smith. That's my own self zelling me from that account to this account.
From what account to this account?
Bank of America. You see BAC? That's what that is. $1,600, my account from the Zelle, from that.
Okay, so on the January 3rd, you Zelled yourself $2,500.
You see where it said? You see it right there. It say from William Smith.
I know, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You told me that you put in $2,000 a month in the account. You said you give her $1,300, and now you're saying you take out $2,500 in 1 month. You took out 25, 3,500, 35. You took out in 2 weeks out of an account that you say you only put $4,000 in a month. You took the entire
That's from taxes too.
From the account.
I got tax payments too. Remember, I got taxes, so I moved money from my taxes over to this account too.
What now?
And when I got my tax payment went to the Bank of America.
Yeah,
That's the account.
about the tax payment.
I'm just telling you that's where money came from, or either from my savings.
To that number, you can tell me about the tax deposit.
Okay.
I'm not talking about your tax deposit. You're telling me that money is coming from an account going into this Truist account. You're telling me it's your joint family account, and I'm telling you that doesn't jive with the numbers that you claim you put into the account. You wouldn't have any money left in your joint account. She would be in the negative.
You see it says from William Smith. That's the only place it come from, because it say BAC.
Sir, I understand what it says.
Yes, ma'am. What
I'm telling you is that it still doesn't make sense. You cannot squeeze blood from an apple. I mean, I'm just saying this is $7,000. This is more than you even put in your joint account. So
I'm not saying all this $7,000 came from, but it's Zelling. I'm Zelling it from, like, I got a payment for $400 from somebody to pay for something. I got a cash square. Let's see what this square is. $297. Debit card return support. 400. That's money that is left over from the account after I paid whatever. The 1,600 was from our savings. They were sent to me, that I sent over. 520. Yeah, this is still something from my savings and from my savings in the Bank of America.
Okay, so how much of these monies are monies from that's related to your business?
Probably about $500, if anything, because it's coming from me, from my Zelle. So nobody, if anybody went into the Bank of America for catering, it would have said that. But this money is from, like, savings and different stuff like that that I moved over to this account.
So in the month of January, you brought $7,308.75 into this account, and you put $4,000 into your joint account, for which, how much money did you leave for Miss Smith? Because I just need to figure out where you got the $7,300 from. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because on a monthly basis, you said that you bring in $4,000. You took out $7,300, plus you left to her about $1,500. So that means that your position is, that means that
this is from my savings. This is from my money from savings too. They went in this account.
Oh,
because
what-
I got my own personal account. That's what I'm saying. We had a joint.
Okay. The Bank Bank of America is moving money from a savings account, not the joint
Yes,
account.
yes, ma'am. Because I don't have,
So you
I
have
didn't
money
have,
in savings. How
yes,
much money do you have in savings?
I don't have none in there, none.
Okay, so at one point you had at least $7,300 in savings. Mr. Smith?
Yes, I had savings.
All right, how much money in savings did you have?
I had about 68 to 68, somewhere around in there, 65, something like that.
65,000?
No, 100.
Okay, 6,800, and you were
But when
able to move 70. Well, actually, you moved the whole 6,800 because you said 500 came from the catering, and the other monies were monies that you either borrowed from yourself, people gave to you, or you moved
No,
from.
it came from my whatchamacallit, my savings, because
This-
if you see the Zelle is from myself.
Okay, no problem. Let's go to the next month.
Sure. This is for February.
Hold on one second.
Go to the
The
income.
deposits, absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, there we go. All right, so of the $8,025, how much of this came from the business and how much of it came from you? And if it came from you, where did it come from?
Hold on one second. I'm trying to get off this. There you go. Let's see here. Zelle, Bo Smith again. Zelle again. Zelle. Let's see. Cash App. In February, this is when the taxes came involved. So I Zelle money from that account because the taxes went to that account.
Okay.
So I Zelle money.
How much was the taxes that you got in that you were able to put into this account?
It was about, I gave 45 and the taxes was 9,300.
So you brought over $5,000?
Yes.
All right.
A little bit more than $5,000.
So
And then whatever I had
three
left
came-
after I paid the bills, I would bring that money over to that account. So whenever I got paid, she would pay everything,
Mhm.
and then I would bring whatever I had left over to that account.
So how much of the 8,000 came from your catering?
Let's see here. I don't think I had any catering in that month at all. I'm looking. Wait a minute.
So Chef Tojo Catering, when he gave you $2,400 and then again another 400, that was your tax money that you were borrowing?
No.
What was that about?
That was a loan.
That was a loan.
I had to pay it back. Yeah, they just mailed it to me.
So you borrowed 2,400 plus you borrowed $2,800 from Chef Tojo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the
Paid
other
it back.
was taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You
Nothing else
made
on
no
here.
money.
Via
You made
money
no money
transfer
off-
credit.
You made no
Yeah.
money off of catering this month.
I didn't have any jobs in February.
Okay, let's go to the following next month. Okay, this is 11,000. All right.
Okay.
What
So-
what happened this month?
So let's see here. Yvonne Mathis that's one. Let's see. That's the only one I had in that month. If you see that $11,000, you see that.
Where did the other money come from?
You see that four. That four came. See that four was deposited, and I deposited that to help somebody pay a bill that needed to be paid off of my card. They couldn't pay it off their card, so that's where that 4,000 came for.
I know, but
And
how did you get the 4,300 to help someone else? You just borrowed money from the chef. So
No.
how did you get the 4,300 to let someone else borrow it?
It was cash money that they gave me to help them pay their bill. So you can actually see it being withdrawn from this account too.
Okay.
4,300.
The 4,300 for what?
To help them pay a bill, pay a rent or whatever.
Oh, they don't have an account, so they gave.
They didn't have an account at that time. Yes.
They gave the $4,300 to you.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can see that came out too. If you see it, it came out.
Okay.
Deposit. So
that leaves about 7,000. Where do the other 7,000 come from?
Them are Zales to myself. If you see it, payment from Smith
I
to
know,
Smith.
but how'd you get the 7,000? Because you've already spent
because
you don't have taxes, and now you're at your regular everyday 4,000 in the month that you're getting.
$50, 145. Trying to make sure this 13 is not nothing. Here. Interest credits. So technically, let's see. This is credits at the bottom and interest deposit and credits. So I only had, if you take that 4,000 out, I had 1,000. $32.
If you take the 4,000 out, you have $7,000 that you have. You said that that $7,000 was your leftover money, but the problem is you're saying you're only putting 4,000. You're only bringing home 4,000. So I'm just, where did the other 3,000 come from?
Let's see, Zelle. Can you go up? Can she stroll up? Because I can't stroll up on.
Okay, can you stroll up?
Just stroll up a little bit. Because all this money is still coming out of Bank of America, if you see. So I don't put.
That's not the issue. The issue is where it came from. Because you got a lot of money, but you're saying you're strapped, but you're doing a lot of this is a lot of money, and I need to know where it's coming from.
Hold on one second. This is where we in. Let me look at the Bank of America because I got it in front of me because I really can't see that one. For five.
Miss Bates, can you bring it down? Miss Bates? Miss Bates?
It's 22.
Can you bring the account down?
Sure, I can. Hold on for a second. Sure.
5.
You want me to go up or down to the next statement, Your Honor?
5, 23.
Yes, go to the next statement.
25, 11.
Okay, so we're on the next one for 57. Where did this money come from?
5, 11. Yeah, transferred 160, transferred from savings 465. Sale for 400. 280. Plaintiff Fitness to keep change. Sale another $50. Sale. And this is what is this? 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I sale 545. Sale 300. This came from the Bank of America account, savings account.
I know.
Savings.
How did the money get into the Bank of America savings account?
Savings account.
Yeah, how did it get into the savings?
I put some of my leftovers from Carl. I put some of my tax money in the savings too, in my savings account in Bank of America.
I thought we already got rid of
I didn't get all of it out. I had some in savings too, because that's where it's showing on the transaction over here. And I'm looking at the Bank of America withdrawals.
Okay. Did you make any money?
1,000.
Or the 5,000, all of that is just.
Let's see, Jermaine, that's right there is for tailgate money that's getting it put in the account. Some of this is tailgate money we get put in the account that we do. That's a group thing that they send me money to get the food.
Because at this point, you're in June. You only made like $800.
Calvin Ward. It was Calvin Ward. Let's see. Calvin Ward probably was a catering. Because that's 1,000.
Okay. So we're in the month of June now. And the total is that you you've made $2,000.
Hold on. Award. Let's see. Yep, that Calvin Award should be one. And can't really count the steward because that's something that we do as a group.
Okay,
And the rest of it's like 190, 300, 400.
sure.
That's just
Okay.
that's just leftover money.
All right, great. All right, so basically for 6 months in this account, you've attributed about 2,400 to the catering business in the 6 months. So basically the catering business, your position is you make about $4,000 or $2,400 a year. I mean,
No.
$4,800 a year.
No, I'm not gonna say that. It's about a year yearly. It counts how business is, because it's peak seasons and it's low season. So about 7 to 8 grand.
Okay, because earlier you said 10, but now you're
Yeah,
back.
something around 7 to 8 grand a year. It counts on how it is. Like I said, it counts on who wants service and who wants what. So I can't really, it counts on how I go. I can't really judge that. It counts on how you market yourself, I got built-in clients, but counts on what they want. You see, I did a lady and it's $400. I mean, a dude $1,000. So
Okay.
it counts on what it is.
All right. All right, thank you. Do you have any other issues you want to bring up to the court?
Your Honor, before he does that, I would like for him to explain, to the extent that he's saying, he told you that his January statement was for his tax returns. What I have pulled up is their joint account that is in both of their names at Bank of America, where he is claiming he was pulling all of this money from. The court will see that both of their names are on these statements. These are the joint Bank of America statements that he was talking about. With respect to the IRS.
It's February. I said that the statements. I didn't say January. Let me be. You can see in February when they taxes hit.
Miss, let me see. Is this the payroll deposit? Yeah, on page 3 is where. Right here is where he has $3,000 for his full-time job coming in. And
that's with, Your Honor, excuse me, that is with my quarterly bonus. That is only happens 3 times a month, 3 times a year.
Okay, and then the taxes, Ms. Smith, where are the taxes deposited on this statement?
Give me this. Let me see. It is it's in February in 2023. On 2/15.
Lashea, I need you to unmute your computer and tell me where to find the tax deposits on this statement.
The tax deposit should have been in July of 2023. So that's the full 14 pages. It'll be on page 3.
No, that's not correct. It's 2/15/2023.
July. Okay,
July.
here it is. Is this the Republic Treasury automatic deposit for William Smith, $3,200, and then another payment for $365?
That is for taxes.
That is Your Honor. That is the state. That is state.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yes. It's 2 different deposits.
okay.
So do you need to see any more from the bank statements, Judge Barry?
No.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I think that the evidence is pretty clear, Your Honor. I still have to make my statement for attorney's fees.
Sure.
So I want to state in my place, Your Honor, that I've been licensed to practice in Georgia for 16 years. I interned in a district attorney's office. I've been practicing exclusively family law for 11 years, including serving as 2 years as a staff attorney in the family division in Fulton County Superior Court. I've written articles, trained guardian ad litem, I've mediated probably 1,000 cases. My hourly rate is $325 an hour. I have spent over 30 hours on this case, valued at $9,750. Because Lashae's income is so low, she has been billed for $7,600. We are asking that Mr. Smith be required to pay her $7,000 of that amount. It was incurred in drafting, serving, and filing the petition in this case. In addition, multiple versions of the settlement documents back and forth with Mr. Smith. As he indicated, he continued to say that he was hiring an attorney, consulting with an attorney. His objections was because he did not want any of his catering income included at all. This week, as we indicated to the court, we received these statements, which he is now saying that these are loans from other people and everything else. He also testified to you just today that he's been depositing $1,600 a month into her account. So to the extent that he's objecting to the difference between $900 that she is asking for alimony plus $875 that she's asking for child support, is only a difference of $175. And I think that the evidence in him waffling over these statements conclusively states that he has no credibility whatsoever, that he has the potential to earn twice the income that we have put in these worksheets for his income, to the extent that he is allowing other people to give him $4,000 and $5,000 of cash to pay bills. I just don't know anyone who does that. And if he has been doing that, they can keep giving him that money to help him pay these obligations that my client is asking for. She testified that they had a conversation and he agreed to it, where she was working at a State Farm insurance company. I think that's a Fortune 100 company. If she was still at that company, she would be making the amount of money that he's making. But because she wanted to tend to the children and the household to allow him to continue to move up on his full-time job, in addition to cater with his part-time job, where he was gone on the weekends and on the evenings with his catering, making the money that we just showed to the court. My client was at home taking care of the family, taking care of the household, making sure that everything was handled for his benefit. He thanks her by having an affair and admitting to having the affair. And when she approached him about it, he packed up and left. And, you know, who knows what he has been doing throughout this time, but he has testified to the court that he's been giving her $1,600 a month. So we know without questioning that he can afford to pay that. He can pick up a catering job to make the difference between that and the amount that she's asking for alimony on a temporary basis, only until this joint debt that they both took out for their benefit and for the benefit of the household. She is asking that he be required to contribute to that cost. In addition, my client testified that when we went through the $170,000 worth of debts, Your Honor, that she owes, so much of it as a result of things that have happened during a marriage, he told her he was going to pay that car note, which he is no longer paying, and it's costing her $536 a month. He bought her the $40,000 car, and he was supposed to pay for it. With respect to Mr. Smith, you'll have an opportunity when I finish. Please don't interrupt my closing.
Put yourself on mute, Mr. Smith. And also, Ms. Bates, that 536, is that separate from the alimony or
it's not even included? It's what she's using her income and all of the other money to pay for, Your Honor. So no, it's not on top of what she's asking for. It's a significant expense that she's having to pay every month. Okay. So that plus the insurance eats up the alimony pretty much.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, if you were asking on top or included. All right, thank you.
Right, and she testified that the minimum payment, which the court probably saw my reaction. I had no idea that my client was paying almost $500 in interest on his Amex card that was used for the wedding. But all of these things we are asking the court to consider. In addition, is USAA loan, again, with the $13,000 balances in both of their names. So we were asking for that. My client did not ask for extra money to pay for these $3,000 worth of furniture bills that these are decisions that they made together as a family unit. And my client never anticipated that she would end up trying to figure out how to pay for all of this stuff. She understands that in a divorce, that more of the financial burden will fall on her. So she went and got a full-time job. She is going to maintain her real estate license to try as hard as she can to climb out of this debt. But she's limited because she has to care for their son full-time. And then, of course, she also has a daughter. So I have had to draft and file this petition. I had to have him served because he refused to respond to the settlement. He refused to acknowledge service. He said he was going to hire an attorney and get the document notarized. He never did. Then we had to file a motion after the date passed because I assume anybody who makes $87,000 a year can afford to go hire an attorney. And he was telling us he had done that. I believe that they advised him that he would end up paying more. So instead of doing anything, he said, well, we'll just wait and see what happens, because he had insight into all of these financials. We did not until this week. So we are just discovering all of this extra income this week. And it makes it even more offensive, Judge Barry, to go 10 months trying to negotiate with him based off of false information and lies. We had to produce, organize, and pull together the evidence. I have drafted all of the proposed orders that have been submitted to the court. As I indicated, spent way more time than the amount of fees that we are asking for. And it is because, again, my client has limited income and huge responsibilities, and we would like for her to have closure. I'm happy to submit anything that the court would need in order to take a look at the itemized invoices. I certainly have them. And we're asking that he be required to pay my client at a rate of $1,000 a month until all of the attorney's fees are paid off. With respect to all of the other requests that she went through in her testimony, Your Honor, they are laid out in copies of the documents that you have. And so Mr. Smith, again, has been aware of all of this for 10 months. He could have had a conversation. We could have gone through all of this over the past 10 months. There was no opportunity. So not only has he expanded these proceedings, he has expanded our proceedings today because he's caused us to spend 2.5 hours on this trial because he showed up at the last second. Suddenly he didn't see the notice. He didn't get the mail. He didn't, he was served the papers. I don't know what his excuse was for not responding to that, but it's not fair to my client when she is not the one who caused this marriage to fall apart. So with that, to be clear, what we're asking for is the court to adopt our proposed child support worksheet, parenting plan, child support addendum, the final order that addresses the debts and the attorney's fees, as well as entering the final judgment in decree of divorce, which restores my client's maiden name.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith?
First off, I did not agree to pay for a car note. The agreement was verbatim that if anything, I would pay half of the car note when she get us whatever the real estate. Second off, the real estate, when she decided to go to real estate, the real reason why she stopped working at State Farm, because they was going to put her on a midnight shift. And we did decide that she was going to go to real estate school and start doing real estate. That was true. That is true. But that was a decision she still made among herself to go ahead and quit. I didn't say quit your job, but just because of that. That's not nothing I would ever tell anybody to do, because they feel like they was going to have, she had savings, she had stuff to keep us afloat. She was helping pay bills in the house from her savings and from different stuff that she had keeping afloat, because I did not pay every last bill in the house, first off. It was certain things she still paid for. She still paid her phone bill. She still paid some of the car notes sometimes. I'm not saying all the time. She would pay her car note. But I did not, the insurance, certain things she would pay. So me paying everything in the house, I did not pay for everything in the house. I did help with the mortgage. I did help with some of the lights and stuff like that, but I didn't pay everything in the house. And when I left, like I said, that house is not mine. She had the house way before me. So she was providing for herself way before I even stepped in the picture. She was still doing her own thing. So, and then the $1,600, I only been paying the $1,600 for the last 4 months. It has been times I've been missing payments because I can't afford to pay it, because I have bills of my own. I'm trying to rebuild myself. So I have stuff that I have to pay for. So I don't have, like, that's what I said, when you take in consideration my output on what I do for myself and be able to pay stuff, I would not have any money left. You can say go get a catering job. It's not that easy. Just like it's not easy to sell a house. You got to have customers to do it. So I don't have, that's why I said I don't have the extra 19, 20. I've been pulling out of the air, struggling to be able to survive and pay my bills. Because I do have bills too. So that's been the biggest struggle of me saying the $1,900. I had no problem paying the $875 or whatever it was a month, which that comes up to $425 or whatever it is, 400 and some change for Mikhail. But I don't have $1,900. That's a whole check. That is a whole check. You cannot depend on anybody to give me a catering job. That's not how it works. It's a want and a need for that. It's not every day that somebody's saying they want me to come cook food for them, especially at the price. I'm not doing it for no low prices or no low bottoms. I'm just saying it's not an everyday thing that you can get somebody to come and do food. It's a million people out here catering, just like it's a million people doing real estate. So that being said, like I said, she was paying some of her bills. She was paying her own bills before I got there too. And I'm not saying I didn't take the bulk of the bills. I did. But it was under the assumption that she still was paying some bills in the house, which is her own bills. So yes, I did not get a lawyer after I found out the lawyer was $4,000 for a lawyer that I can't afford because I'm still trying to pay for my stuff. And she does not, we split pretty much. We have Mikhail at the same length of time, a lot of times a month. It's not, he's with me almost every weekend and during the week.
Mrs. Smith, how have you paid for these 5 trips that you have gone on since you're saying you don't have any money?
That's not got nothing to do with this because I don't pay for the trips. That's not my. What does that have to?
You can continue. Okay, we're on closings now. All right.
Okay. So my question is, that has nothing to do with anything. Whoever pays for me to go on a trip, that's their business. That's not none of their business. If I do go on a trip.
Okay, now I want to open it back up. What do you mean? Whoever pays for it? There's someone paying for you to go on trips.
It's if somebody if I go on a trip and somebody pay.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. Finish, Mr. Smith.
So my thing is, like I said, that the biggest thing is, like I said, is that I still have bills that I have to pay for.
All right. Thank you.
They got to be taken into consideration too, somewhere down the line.
Right. Okay. So let me start with, I do not believe you, Mr. Smith. I just simply do not believe you. I do, and I don't like it when, because what happens is it starts shaping my view of what information you're lying about and what information you're not lying about. And then I can't tell because I know it makes absolutely no sense. The reasons that you gave or your explanation of your bank account. I don't believe it. I do not believe that you made $2,400 in 6 months on your business when you've already told me you make at least 10. First thing you told me was you said that's not true. I don't make that much. I make about 10 or 11,000. Then all of a sudden it went to 7 to 8,000. And literally when we actually went through the bank account, it wasn't even 4,000. And from January from January to June.
Yes, ma'am. But you got the months that you just looked at, that is the slowest peak of season. For catering.
It might be. It's not really what I'm looking at. I don't believe you have $7,000 and $8,000 just sitting in your joint account somewhere. I mean, sitting in a savings account somewhere, and people borrowing money and throwing money at you, and $5,000 for people just to send money someplace else. I don't believe it. It's what I'm just saying. I just don't. And so I don't believe that of $40,000 for which all of it came from your regular account. I don't believe it. All right. And if you make $87,000 on your W-2 for your business from the healthcare services, You're already at $7,200 already. And Miss Bates and Miss Smith, wanting to get resolve this matter despite you not participating, went on and gave you $7,200 and also took out funds for your other children. Were very, very gracious with regard to these numbers, because they could have certainly asked for a significantly an amount more, because I don't believe you just make $7,200 a month. I don't. Even if I gave you what you're telling me you only make $12,000. I recognize that if you put $40,000 in this account, you have overhead, you got food, you got those sorts of things. You might have people that are helping you. You have all those things. If I took that in consideration, you would, for the 6 months, you make $20,000, 20,000 of that money might be money that you've actually made. But I don't know, because you wouldn't be honest about what you were spending money on, where that money came from. But what I know for certain is you cannot put $4,000 in your joint account. Your wife used $1,400 of it on the bills. You're using money to pay for your stuff. And then you were able to pull over $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 each month, on anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 each month into your account, and have no way of explaining it other than I had money in a savings account. I had money here. A friend gave that to me. It doesn't make sense. So I'm not accepting that. The fact is that your wife, although generally, and I will say this, like when Miss Bates first came in and she told me, okay, this is the alimony case, I'm thinking, okay, we got a 20-year marriage. We didn't. We thinking we got a 10-year marriage. We didn't. However, this is one of those clear cases where you admitted that you told her that it was a decision that she was going to make less, and she is going to need an opportunity to bring herself where she should have been or would have been if you had not made that decision. And it's not fair. It's not fair for her to take on this debt, buy furniture, thinking that she's going to be in this marriage for a while and have this debt to be responsible for. It doesn't make any sense for her to think that, her husband is going to pay for a car that he's not going to pay for. And those things, it's not fair. Particularly when the reason for the marriage is based on adultery, and for which you did not deny, and for which, when she brought it to you, you admitted. So, but the adultery is just one piece of the pie of why the court is going to grant alimony. That's one piece. But the main concern that I have is the finances, because there's a lot of financial stuff that she has to now be responsible for based on decisions that you all made together. One of them is losing a significant amount of yearly income. And the other is there is a significant debt and responsibility that you all have, and her income does not allow for her to be responsible for that debt. That's for one. So in consideration of the fact that you also have a business where you're making significant funds for which she is not asking or taking any interest in, the court is being mindful of that. So I am going to grant this case in the manner in which Ms. Bates has made the request for it. I will grant the attorney's fees as well. Because I looked at the $9,750, I gave you 70% of that based upon your income. That would have put it at $6,800 that you've been responsible for. But I'm going to round that off to the $7,000 that was requested. I am, however, going to put a limit on the time frame for the alimony. I'm going to put a limit of 5 years on the alimony.
Wow.
This is a short marriage. But that will give her an opportunity to pay off this car note that she has and time frame to pay off all of this debt, because that's essentially what she'll have. So I'm gonna grant her the her wishes in with regard to the case. That's the order of the court.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bates, if you prepare, I think you've already pretty much prepared it. I do want you to note in there, I'm not sure if you did, the adultery. I also want you to note in there her relinquish of the chef bow, because I haven't read this, the relinquish of any interest in Chef Bo. And I also want you to note that she will be paying her, that he's not going to be paying the car note, that car note would be her responsibility. Of course, she could pay it out of the alimony, but that car note would be part of her responsibility. Because I do find her credible that he indicated he would pay for it. All right, that's the order of the court.
Okay, Your Honor, I'll make the amendments and send them to, who's preparing your orders? I just want to know.
You'll send them to Ms. Harris.
Ms. Harris, okay. I'll do that. I'll make the amendments and send them to her right now.
That's the order of the court.
Okay, may we be excused? Thank you.